I was born into a world that already expected me to become something more than a man. Long before I understood politics, war, or death, others decided that my life would not belong to me. My father, Philip of Macedon, did not raise me to inherit comfort. He raised me to inherit ambition. Macedonia was not respected by the great powers of Greece. We were considered useful, strong in war, but unrefined, unworthy of leadership. That insult shaped me more deeply than praise ever could. I am Alexander of Macedon, and this is how I carried conquest farther than any man before me, how I forced the world to reveal its limits, and how everything I built collapsed the moment I was no longer there to hold it together. From childhood, I was taught that greatness was not accidental. Aristotle filled my mind with philosophy, ethics, and the belief that a man's worth is measured by his actions, not his comfort. Homer taught me something more dangerous, that glory survives death. I did not want a long life, I wanted a meaningful one. My mother, Olympias, whispered that I was destined for more than kingship, that the gods themselves watched my steps. Whether that was truth or manipulation mattered little. I believed it. My father taught me discipline and suspicion. He taught me that loyalty fades quickly and must be reinforced through reward and fear. I watched him unite Macedonia through war and diplomacy, and I watched the Greek cities submit to his power while pretending to retain their independence. From him, I learned that appearances matter, but force decides. When Philip was assassinated, the world tested me immediately. I was young, inexperienced in the eyes of those who wished me gone. Nobles whispered, Greek cities planned rebellion. They believed Macedonia would fracture without my father. I did not give them time. Rivals were executed, threats were silenced. When Thebes rose against me, I destroyed it completely. Its streets were burned, its people sold into slavery, its name erased from the map. Many condemned me for cruelty. They did not understand necessity. Mercy invites rebellion when power is still unproven. Greece submitted not because it admired me, but because it feared consequence. Fear secured my rear as I prepared for what mattered most. Across the Hellespont lay Asia, and beyond Asia, Persia. The Persian Empire was vast beyond imagination, ancient, wealthy, and confident in its size. Darius ruled lands that stretched farther than any Macedonian army had ever marched. Many advised caution. They warned that Persia had swallowed invaders before. I ignored them. History does not reward patience when opportunity is ripe. I crossed into Asia with an army small compared to the forces arrayed against me, but hardened by discipline and belief. At the Granicus River, Persian satraps waited for me to hesitate. They believed the crossing itself would weaken my force. Instead, I led the charge personally. Risk binds men more tightly than speeches ever could. When my soldiers saw me bleed, they followed without question. Victory there shattered the illusion of Persian invincibility and opened Asia Minor to my advance. City after city fell. Some welcomed me as a liberator, tired of Persian governors and tribute. Others resisted and paid for it dearly. War is persuasion carried out with steel. Each victory strengthened belief in my inevitability, and belief spreads faster than armies. At Issus, I faced Darius himself. His army dwarfed mine, yet it moved slowly, burdened by luxury and indecision. Terrain narrowed the field. Discipline held my line. When Darius fled, abandoning his family, his men, and his honor, Persia fractured in spirit. A king who runs teaches his empire that survival matters more than loyalty. From that moment, Persia's fate was sealed. I pursued relentlessly. An enemy allowed to recover becomes a legend. Legends inspire resistance. Along the coast, I stripped Persia of its naval power by taking its ports one by one. Tyre resisted longest, confident in walls and water. I answered with patience. I built a road across the sea itself. When Tyre fell, the world understood that no barrier was permanent when refusal was not an option. Egypt welcomed me differently. There I was celebrated rather than resisted. I was crowned pharaoh, embraced by traditions older than Greece itself. I founded Alexandria not for vanity, but vision. I believed cities could bind an empire where fear could not. In Egypt, I felt closer to divinity than ever before. But divinity does not satisfy ambition. It only expands it. The final confrontation with Persia came at Gaugamela. Darius prepared carefully, flattening the land for his chariots and assembling forces from across his empire. None of it mattered. I struck where his line was weakest, shattered the center, and forced him to flee again. Persia did not fall in that instant, but its spirit died there. Babylon opened its gates. Susa surrendered its treasure. Persepolis burned. Some say it was revenge for Greece. Others say it was excess. In truth, conquest blurs intention. Victory and destruction often walk together. With Persia defeated, many believed my war was over. I did not. Without war, I felt unfinished. Conquest had become identity. I pushed east into lands unfamiliar and hostile. In Bactria and Sogdiana, resistance hardened me. These were not grand battles, but endless skirmishes, ambushes, and betrayals. I learned that force alone could not sustain empire. I began adopting Persian customs, wearing their dress, honoring their traditions, and marrying Roxana. I believed unity required assimilation. My Macedonian soldiers saw betrayal. They followed me still, but trust weakened. India marked the edge of ambition. The land was vast, wet, and unforgiving. At the Hydaspes River, I faced an enemy unlike any before. Elephants shattered formations and courage alike. We won, but victory tasted hollow. My army refused to march farther east. For the first time, I listened. Turning back was not defeat, but recognition that even destiny has limits. The return was worse than conquest. The Gedrosian desert claimed more lives than many battles. Hunger stripped glory from empire. I grew harsher, more demanding. Power magnified my flaws. Friends became victims of my temper. Cletus, who once saved my life, died by my hand in a moment of rage that no victory could erase. By the time we returned west, my empire stretched from Greece to the edges of India. It existed because I existed. There were no institutions strong enough to replace me. I spoke of future campaigns because stillness felt like decay, but my body weakened. In Babylon, illness overtook me. When my generals asked who should rule after me, I gave no answer. Perhaps I had none. When I died, my empire fractured instantly. Generals became kings. Unity dissolved into war. The world I built moved too fast to stabilize. I conquered territory, but not time. History remembers me as conqueror, hero, destroyer. All are true. I did not bring peace. I brought possibility. I showed the world how small it really was, how borders were lines waiting to be crossed. Empires require patience. I gave the world speed. That was my greatness, and that was my end.